We're learning Perek Dal Halacha Tes. Ketzad. How could it be that there's chometz that you're allowed to leave if it's a mixture? We'll go down to the Peirush. What is the mixture of chometz that is not considered edible, that you can keep it on Pesach? Arichas ho'avdin adonim. That what you use to make the skin, the hides, into leather. You put into it together the mixture already has in it the leather. After you take it off to the animal, of course, then you work it in a big barrel, and there you have as well flour. Even you put it in just a moment before the time of biur, you can keep it even though it's chometz. If you didn't give the oiros, but he put the kemach in 3 days into this mixture before the biur, right? Because it's already lost and spoiled. But if you left the kemach in the areva without putting in the skins within 3 days before Pesach, you do have to get rid of it, because all the time that it didn't work to go for 3 days, the kemach, it didn't become spoiled, and therefore you'd have to get rid of it. So therefore, if it's within 3 days, then you have to get rid of it, because it's what the residue of what's left in the tannery will cause it to become spoiled and contaminated, unedible. The Maggid Mishnah cites a brayso in Psochim 45b. Chacham learned the vat which within you were put in it flour within 3 days, you have to burn it. If you put it in there more than 3 days before, you have to get rid of it. Amar Nosen, when is it speaking about? That he didn't put in the skin, just the wheat, the flour itself. And that causes it to be spoiled anyway, by itself. It was not, if it's more than 3 days. Therefore, you can keep it. But if you put in the skins, even within 3 days, then you don't have to get rid of it at all, because it's immediately inedible. Amarova, so how is it Allah's Kabnosen, that even if you left the kemach with the oris 1 day, or even 1 hour. We'll go now to Halacha Yud. And now in Perek Dal Halacha Yud we learn V'chein HaKilor and Aratiya. So let's see. In the Peirush it says V'chein HaKilor v'Aratiya v'Aspelinis v'Ateriak, that he put into it chometz. You can keep it for Pesach because it's no longer edible. It's not considered chometz. Rabbi Manoach explains kilo is a bandage. Spelinis is another type of a bandage that are made for healing purposes. And it depends on where they are, where you place it. If it's large bandage, a smaller bandage, a different type of bandage. That which is placed on the eye is called kilo. What's put on the hand is called eritio and aspleninis. Vitriac is a type of potion that helps, and you make it from the skin of a nochosh, which is a poisonous snake, and you mix it with eggs of an animal which was known to the doctors at that time, with certain herbs and bread which is old and dried up, and you make it like a cake, and you mix it with oil, and the majority of the healing is somebody that the snakes bit him, or a scorpion, or somebody who has a mako, a wound within it, and it reaches the inner part of the goof, that you're allowed to mechal even Shabbos on of it because of pikuach nefesh. But this is we're talking about where it's no longer edible. Now chometz, which is set aside for refuah, and you can't get anything like it. And Rav Haigen wrote in the Tshuva, and even though something that's like a triach, that has chometz, and it can be eaten, you have to get rid of it on Pesach. Triach, which is for Sovik Bigur Nefesh, and there's nothing else that will work in its place, and you can't find it by others. It's only made for kings. He also has to be aged a great period of time that it should work, and you set it aside specifically for healing. Therefore, you don't have to get rid of it on Pesach, because for Pikuach Nefesh. And even though that he holds it in his house, and there's nobody there who right now needs Pikuach Nefesh, still you rely on what it says in the Mishnah. Sofik Nefesh is Dore Shabbos. The Gemara says, Amar Yehuda, not only because Sofik Shabbos of this Shabbos, even if it's a Sofik that he might for future Shabbos, you can be mechal this Shabbos in order to save him from being from dying in a future Shabbos. Therefore, you can keep it on Pesach even though it has chometz. Rambam explains that is only because people recognize it not to being chometz. If it would look like chometz, it would be a problem. Now, the Maggid Mishnah says, brings the words of Rav Haigen, and it would seem that he understood from the Rambam that it doesn't look like chometz anymore. It's only talking about kilo. But Retivas Pelanis, to these three, as the Mishnah mentioned, and we find in the Sefta, kilo Pelanis Varetio, that you put in kemach, you don't have to burn it. And he cites also the Riv regarding triach. The Maggid Mishnah says, according to Rav Haigen, it's mostly because of Sofik Nefoshes. The Rebbe disagrees. Amavom zeh shibush. Acher kibel mitam acher v'loi mitamoi. Maggid Mishnah writes, what is the Rebbe upset about? Ein midvorim elu tam. The Mishnah explains what it means on the reasoning of the Rambam, that you can keep it because it doesn't look like chometz anymore. But that's not correct. You can keep it, he writes in the Hasog and Alochi Yid Aleph, because it's nifsal ma'achilas kelev. So there would be a differentiation as if the item is edible or not.